At 79 years of age, I failed twice in my drive test at Vic Road, Kulru. Honestly speaking, I thought maybe driving was not for me. But what happened in my third test taught me a lesson I will never forget. So, during my first test, after pre-drive test, I was asked to exit from the park step by step. From there, step by step, I was asked to join the 80 zone road in the right lane. I traveled about 2-3 minutes at 75 speeds, keeping a proper distance from the ongoing traffic. After that, I was directed by the examiner to turn right. I turned right by giving way to oncoming traffic. There, I entered a 50 zone. In that zone, the examiner directed me to make 4 high right or left turns. After that, I was directed to make a 3-point turn. And from there, I was taken to roundabout to check how I deal with the roundabouts. Then I was taken to a bending road. I was checked how I deal with the bending road, and at some places it was narrow. So at those places I reduced my speed, and I was also checked that whether I am giving way to oncoming traffic and how I am giving way, keeping distance from the cars already parked. After total driving of about 8 minutes, I was directed by the examiner to pull over the car. So I did. After checking my mark sheet, the examiner informed me that you are doing well so far, and now we will begin going through little bit busy traffic, roundabouts and lane changing. And I was directed to move the car, and so I did. So first of all, I was directed to pass through a stacked crossing from Kivway sign. It is a crossing, you have to cross one road and stay in between and again turn right. I did well in this crossing, and after traveling 2-3 minutes, there came a roundabout from where I was asked to turn left. So by giving head check, I turned left, and this road did not have speed marking. I presumed this road is 60, and I was driving at 56. After driving off for 1 minute, I was directed by the examiner to turn right. There was a car coming at a more than 4-second distance. So I made the right turn. After traveling a little distance, I was directed by the examiner to pull over the car and hand over it to the examiner, to the instructor. And we will tell you what mistake you made during the test. When we reached the office, the examiner informed me that you were traveling at 56 in 50 zone. So that's why you have failed. because of speeding. So about my next test, second test, after doing the pre-drive check, I was asked to move toward the exit of the park. I was in the first driveway of the park. I started moving towards the exit where I was to join the main road, and at the same time a car came from the second driveway which was facing the main road. And because I came first, I entered the main road. At the same time, there was a car coming from the right, and that car had the right of way. So, after traveling a little distance, the examiner ordered me to drive back the car to the park. So I did. After reaching the park, I was informed by the examiner that you did not give the way to the car coming from the right. So you have failed because of not giving the way. So now comes the third test. During my pre-drive test, I will explain little bit more this test for the benefit of the students who want to appear the driving test. So first of all, during my pre-drive test, I was respectful to the examiner. For each question he asked me, I used sir while replying. This was told by my instructor to be respectable to the examiner during the test. So after pre-drive test, I was directed by the examiner to move to the exit step by step. From there, I was again directed to reach the main 80 road. I was asked to turn right in the right lane. So I did. I drove about for 2-3 minutes, keeping a proper distance from the ongoing traffic, driving safely, driving at 75 speed. And after 2-3 minutes, the examiner directed me to turn right. I turned right after giving way to oncoming traffic. So after turning right, I reached the 50 zone. In this zone, again, I was asked to perform right and left turns 5-6 times. Then do a 3-point turning. And after that, I was taken to a bending road where I faced at some places the road was narrow. There I reduced my speed. There was oncoming traffic. I gave way to them. There I kept distance from the parked car, and I was also made to deal with a roundabout. I made double head check while entering and reduced the speed, and I was little bit fast while exiting the roundabout. So after about 8 minutes of driving, I was directed by the examiner to pull over the car. So I did. The examiner, after checking my mark sheet, informed me that so far you did well. Now you have to go through little bit more traffic, roundabouts and lane changing. So I was asked to again start the car, and first of all I was asked to pass through a stacked crossing from a giveaway sign. Stacked crossing is you have to cross one road and stay in the center and then turn right. I did well in this crossing. Then I was driving in left or right lane as per the directions of examiner. I was doing head checks, looking in rear mirror and the concerned mirror for lane changing. I was given almost very few orders, about 7-8 minutes of driving. So I was driving straight and I was checked for whether I maintain the lane and how I deal with the roundabouts. About the roundabouts, I was reducing my speed while entering and little bit fast while exiting. And I was doing double head check. So at this time, I thought that I am doing well, I may pass this time. But I made my mind not to think and go for a perfect driving. Whether you pass or fail, you don't worry. So I did. I'm about 8 minutes of driving, continuous driving, and perfect. Then I think we were returning during the driving. So there came a very busy roundabout. So from here I was asked to turn left in the right lane. So there was a coming car in the in the right lane of the roundabout. In that cover, I entered the roundabout without hesitating. So then, in the next step, I moved to the right lane. So from after traveling a short distance, I was directed by the examiner to turn right. So I gave a right indicator and I went to the turning lane. It was very busy that day. We were waiting there for 2-3 minutes. When my turn came, I turned right. And from there, step by step, we reached to the park from where I started. In the last minutes of driving, I made up my mind to give a best finishing touch, and that I did. There was a imaginary T intersection almost at the end of the driving where I gave way by checking to the left, right, and again to the left, and then I turned the vehicle right. Then at the end I was again told to turn right. I did, and I was asked to park the car anywhere. To my bad luck, the park was very busy, almost covered. There was 190-degree parking lane free, and I made right turn to park car in that lane. To my bad luck, the opposite car parked in the same lane was little bit forward and crossed the line, and I had to stop a little bit before the actually position so that I don't hit the other car. And actually I wanted my right door parallel to the door of the car parked to my right, but I could not. So at the end I use the same procedure of switching off as we are required to do it and put the car on parking, and then the examiner left the car without saying any word to me or my instructor. By the time my instructor gave me a board on which it was written, "Passed my driving test just now," and he gave me that in my hands and took a snap of me. And I asked him, "How do you know that I have passed?" The examiner did not tell anything, so I was not sure, so he simply laughed. Then we reached the examiner office, where examiner declared me pass, and I was so happy. So at 79 years of age, I proved to myself that age does not stop dreams, only giving up does. If I can do it at 79, what dream are you still waiting to chase? Take care.